If your 2010 to 2017 BMW 5 Series shows a check engine light followed by one of these messages putting your car into limp home mode, you'll have to get it diagnosed, but there's a chance it'll be related to your turbo and your wastegate, and this can be a very expensive repair. In my case, I brought it to two places and they told me to replace the turbo, which would have been upwards of $2,000. This is true, replacing the turbo would fix the issue, but for me, I wanted to diagnose further to see how much money I could save. Turbos on these N20 engines are known for issues, and in fact BMW considers a turbo a wear item. There are telltale signs that your turbo is going bad. Things like burning oil, a rattling sound when you start your car, or the vehicle feeling sluggish as if you have low boost. But for me, none of those things existed. If you want to save money and do DIY work, get yourself a good scan tool. I'll put links below to a few different models. For me, I used my tool to check the wastegate, to run through some tests. I could command the actuator to operate and I could see that it was moving. It just kept showing up the same issues, which was the wastegate stop position was out of tolerance. The turbo is located low on the engine on the left side underneath this heat shield, which we'll have to remove to work on it. It's kind of difficult to get to. You'll have to take this thing off by feel. You'll use a 1/4-inch ratchet with an E-Torque socket, and you'll have to just get down there. It's held on by 3 E-Torque bolts. Feel them out, back them off, and pull this heat shield out. The arm of the actuator is connected to the wastegate lever like this, with the pin that holds it together. In my case, the pin was so corroded that it just fell off. I disconnected the linkage from the wastegate and checked for rattle, checked for play, and I had none. I checked for smooth movement opening and closing, and most importantly that it closes well. For reference, a wastegate valve looks like this, and what's important is that when it's closed, it's not rattling around, it's not loose. In my case, it feels like it closes adequately, so I'm just going to try replacing the actuator by itself. The entire assembly looks like this. It has the plastic housing of the actuator and a bracket. The bracket's hard to take off. It's held on by 2 large Torx bolts, and they're hard to get to, so I'm just going to take off the actuator itself. And that's held on by 4 Phillips head screws. It's probably going to be pretty corroded, and so you want to spray them down a tiny bit and use as much force as you can straight down onto the face of that screw to back them out. In my case, I was able to get 3 of them out. The last one was pretty stuck, and I just snapped off the corner to get it out. Without anything in the way, I was able to get a pair of vice grips down there to break it, and then it just came off by hand. You should plan on replacing all 4 of these screws, so if you mar them up or they're really corroded, it doesn't matter. If you watch my channel, you'll know that I try to do these repairs as economically as possible, and I picked up this actuator from Amazon, and it was adequate. It worked well. I was able to get some M4 sized hex head bolts and washers, and that's going to let me put the new one back on. Reinstalling the new one is not difficult, just takes some dexterity and patience. You thread the arm of the actuator through the hole of the bracket and mount the 4 screws, making sure that the harness plug is facing up. Then just reach down, carefully grab the arm of the actuator, put it up and onto the pin of the wastegate lever. With any luck, you'll find yourself in a situation where the linkage arm barely goes back onto the pin. If that happens, the gate will be closed with just a little bit of pre-tension or preload, and that'll be the right position. Otherwise, we'll have to make this adjustment later. BMW makes this repair clip that's perfect for the situation. The way it works, it attaches to the end of the actuator arm, and it swivels up and snaps on using tension to the back of the pin on that wastegate lever. It will have a bend in it. Do not try to straighten it out. It needs that bend to keep that tension. Here's a part number for reference. You'll have to do this part by feel, but this is how it'll look. You'll take that clip and put it towards the very end of that arm. Then as you swivel it up, release some of the tension with your other finger and let it snap onto the back of that pin. You'll feel it physically snap in. You're supposed to then take the top part of this clip and bend it over. It's very hard to do while in a vehicle, so what I did was just got down there with some pliers and just bent enough to make sure that this won't rattle off. Then reattach the harness, making sure the plug fully seats and you hear the click. Unless you're really lucky, this is the part that you'll really need a scanner for. Once you turn your car on, it'll run through its self-check, and you'll likely throw a code again because this actuator hasn't been calibrated. But using your scanner, you could run through those same calibrations, and it'll let you know how far off you are, either open or closed. Here it shows I'm almost 3 millimeters out of tolerance. To fix that, you'll reach down with a very small open and wrench, loosen up the nuts on that threaded rod, and move the arm left or right as appropriate. There's small increments. Every time I made my adjustments, I only spun the nut about 1 full turn before recalibrating. You do this until you get that number down to 0. Once you do that, you'll see the scanner let you know that there are no faults. That means your calibration went well. Double checking here for check engine light or trouble codes, I can see I'm good to go. The final part is a road test. Go out, do a couple spurts of acceleration, pulling over, letting your car stop at idle for a while. Do that a few times. If your check engine light never comes back on and you don't have that limp home mode message on, you're good to go. If you have a scanner, you could even do the diagnostics while you're driving and watch the valve move open and close, watch your voltages. Here it shows I'm pretty good and I'm happy. This saved a lot of money, over $2,000 versus under $200. If you've got similar codes relating to your wastegate, don't just rush to waste money on an entire turbo setup. Check out this part first, it might do the trick. I like making these videos to show how easy it is to do some of these things on your own, and of course to save a ton of money while doing it. I'll put links below to the items and tools I've used, and if you use my links, I will earn a whole 17 cents.